I just want to take a moment to respond to a couple of times during the presentation and the commentary today. It's been suggested that Minnesota stands out as having a history of racism, and the implication being that we're a terrible state full of terrible people who've done terrible things. There may be some truth there, no doubt there is. But I just want to offer an alternative perspective that could perhaps leave us with a little bit more hope. My dad was a black kid who grew up in Detroit. He married a white woman. 10 years before their marriage, it would have been illegal for them to have that union in several states in this country. That is a very explicit racially discriminatory policy. In spite of that, one generation later, here I am. And as I look around this committee room, I see several examples of diversity. People who've been empowered, people who've been elected, people who are deciding public policy in this state. Minnesota is not a racist state. To the extent that racism occurs, to the extent that it is informing policies, we are rooting it out, and we certainly condemn it. When I moved to this state as a 12-year-old kid, my dad sought Minnesota because of the hope that it offered our family. He fulfilled not some grandiose American dream, but a meager one, a modest one, to have a better life for himself and his family and his children than the one that he had when he grew up. So I think when we look at the disparities in racial groups when it comes to homelessness and poverty, is it important to take a look back at the atrocious, explicitly, overtly racist policies that contributed to that? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But I would caution us against putting too much weight on the generational impact, because it disempowers individuals to take responsibility for their circumstances, to overcome challenges, and to propel themselves into a better situation later in life. I appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.
And that's all.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Hudson. I'd like, Commissioner, give you the chance to comment. So one thing that I just want to say is I did not hear you as describing this as being a terrible state full of terrible people.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I certainly didn't intend to imply that we're a terrible state. I love this state, and I think it's an amazing state. So when we get into the reasons that people are experiencing homelessness, the very first thing I always want to mention is that I think the core of this issue is that homelessness really reflects these profound impacts of racism and inequity.
Minnesota is historically known for its racism in housing.